I promised you some Kamala Harris thoughts, and I aim to deliver. This is why they want to get rid of her. Just her amazing eloquence and ability to nail a point succinctly with as few words, an economy of words as possible. Here's just a little sample in SOT 22.
A lot of joy. I have to tell you, in our young people and our young leaders, I started a college tour last fall.
Yes.
And meeting with Gen Z and all these young people who are not waiting around for us to fix things. They are ready to take it on. You know, things like gun violence,
yes,
climate crisis. And I think that part of what we all embrace and need to acknowledge is that we measure the strength of ourselves not based on who we beat down, but who we lift up.
Who we lift up.
And let's continue to focus on that as a way to strengthen ourselves, our country, but also to give us joy, right?
Is the tear starting?
What did she do? What is that? I don't know.
Happening?
You know, it's no. You know, my what is lacrimal glands or whatever? They now forget it. Now they've completely dried out.
Sahara.
I'm sweating because I'm so uncomfortable listening to this woman talk. You know, she reminds me of Buttigieg. She does, and the both of them have this same problem. Nobody says less by saying more than those two. Have you ever heard them talking? Like you hear that, and you're like, Buttigieg does this all the time. You're like, we're gonna beat people down, and we're gonna lift them up, and you're like, yeah, man, that sounds good. What the hell do you? What do you mean? Like when Buttigieg talks at the end, you're like, man, that sounded good. What the did he just say? No one knows what he said. No one has any idea. This is Kamala Harris. And this, by the way, this goes back to my cannibalism theory of the left. While we're on the topic of, Buttigieg, Harris, Karine Jean-Pierre, I have this and it's not an Uncle Brosy thing. Like my cannibalism theory in the left comes true every single time. The left is obsessed with this silly idea that you are somehow defined by absolutely irrelevant characteristics, gay or straight, black or white, irrelevant to your job. I'm not saying they're irrelevant to your life, irrelevant to your job. Whether you can be president or press secretary or Department of Transportation head has nothing to do with any of that. Unfortunately, it has primacy with the left. So with the cannibalism theory is as follows. The good ones, I'm not talking about the swampy loser ones, they don't care about this. They're going to hire people because they're competent, and that's kind of it. Good conservatives. The clowns will play the game, right? The left is so now trapped in this that they're going to wind up eating themselves alive because we don't care about that kind of criticism. Conservatives are going to be like, why'd you hire that guy? Because he's good? Why'd you fire him? Because he sucks? Nobody cares what you blame it on. Nobody. We're immune to that. We've suffered cancel culture for 20 years. We give zero shits about it anymore. The left is so embedded in this. It's become a dogmatic Jim Jones-like religion. The Kool-Aid is already done. They can't escape from it. You're going to see themselves slowly, progressively, pun intended, eat themselves alive right now as Karine Jean-Pierre, who's clearly incompetent. It's nothing to do with her skin color or she's gay. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. She's just bad at this. She's really, really bad at this. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. Hakeem Jeffries, a guy I don't share a single ideologically aligned issue with. He's not a half-bad communicator. It has nothing to do with the guy's skin color. She just can't do the damn job.
Right.
So they're going to eat themselves alive. That's why she'll never leave. And you're right. She's smart. Megyn, the smartest move Karine Jean-Pierre made. Karine, here you go. Good. What do they say? Slay, queen. What does the left say? All the kids You stay there, girlfriend. You keep doing.
Fight.
You do your thing. You stay. Fight back. I am with you. I'm not even kidding. Much respect.
Same.
Smartest thing you ever did. You stay there right until the end, until you're ready to leave. I'm not even messing with you. Smart move.
I bet she even said that one extemporaneously, Dan. She didn't have to read a thing. Black,
didn't have to
female, gay. Fuck off. That's
good.
These
are the rules they set up. You guys want to live your life by irrelevant characteristics that have nothing to do with people, then good. Then you live by it. We're going to keep judging people by their character and merit and actual stuff that matters. You guys can bathe in all that shit.
Here's the capper. So speaking of Kamala Harris, she goes on, she was at yet another place at the, what was it? Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies Legislative Leadership Summit. Okay, great. And she had some pearls of wisdom. So she like Kamala Harris, honestly, what had she done prior to being selected as Joe Biden's VP? I mean, nothing. She had an affair with a very prominent politician out in California that put her on the political map. And then she became attorney general. And then before you knew it, she was bounced into his running mate position. She wants to rewrite the story. And by the way, we knew Biden said, I want to pick somebody who's a black female. He had promised that to Clyburn. So he did it in the Supreme Court, and then he did it in the vice presidential slot. And here she is rewriting the history about this is her being an empowered woman, Dan. This is like, and this is how it's done, just in case you didn't know, this is how it's done. This is what you have to do if you want to succeed in your life. SOT 23.
Don't ever carry as a personal burden your capacity to do whatever you dream and aspire to do based on other people's limited ability to see who can do what. This is part of what's involved, is that we have to know that sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open, sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that fucking door down. Excuse my language.
Okay.
It's so insulting.
And by that,
it's so
by
scripted.
that, she means we all need to sleep with Willie Brown. That's what kicking the fucking door. If you got to sleep with Willie Brown to get ahead, Dan, you do it. You understand?
It is so scripted and so silly and so ridiculous. They've set themselves up in this this preposterous trap right now, where again they go to America and then they keep pitching this nonsense about DEI, which I call DIE. And then again, you bring out Kamala Harris, who is so clearly completely incompetent for the job. And I mean, they've absolutely lost the narrative. And that moment there, I've seen that clip a couple of times. That just speaks to who Kamala Harris is. She is totally not genuine. And it's this artificial, like, I've got a curse to be relatable. Like, listen, I don't have the best mouth in the world, but, you know, I grew up in Queens, and that's just kind of how we talk. So it slips out once in a while, and well, more than once in a while. That was so scripted. You can tell. You can tell someone told her, hey, you're so not relatable to people that matter for our constituency, or young voters, black voters, minority voters. So come out and drop an F-bomb, and everybody's going to love you. And what's weird about it is she does it, and she acts like the very same people she's trying to court don't know she's full of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's so fake and artificial and phony. Yeah, it's so cringe, the whole thing.
You felt it on a gut level. I don't know if she swears or not, but that one was obviously inserted for effect. And it's just absurd to me that, like, a country that did recognize her, she became attorney general, she became a U.S. senator, she became vice president, and now she's got to sort of talk about how it's impossible to break through these doors. You know, she just have to break them down. Just like Michelle Obama, same thing. You know, it's like, look how much you've achieved in this wonderful country of ours. You're still bitter. Whenever you get the opportunity,
Megyn,
you've got to rip on the
too.
country and your countrymen.
This is how phony she is. If you remember back to the Democrat primary in 2020, it was Kamala Harris who basically openly implied Joe Biden was a racist. Everybody remembers the bus story. Forget that story. That's not the one that mattered. Joe Biden was friends with a Democrat senator. And I'm not talking about Robert Byrd. He eulogized. I was there, by the way, when that happened. I was a Secret Service agent that day when Obama and Biden talked about, I forget, what was Byrd's title? Grand Exalted Cyclops of the Ku Klux
wasn't
Klan?
he Grand Wizard?
Yeah, I don't know. Neither me nor you are familiar with KKK titles, but I read it somewhere and I was like, the guy was what the hell's an exalted Cyclops? Like, this guy, he eulogized him. But that's not even the worst part. The story about Biden gets even worse. It was Kamala Harris. You can go back and look this up, who pointed out, what was the guy's name? Engelman or Eagleman? There was this Democrat senator who was just basically an open racist. And this was not hidden at all. He was endorsed basically by the KKK. This was Biden's buddy. Biden is on the record talking about this guy like, hey, we were pals, we were friends. Now, listen, if you're going to run as like this DEI diversity guy and look at me, I'm your representative. If you're an oppressed minority in the country, fine, you run on what you want. But this guy's totally full of shit. And the irony of it is Kamala Harris was the one who pointed out, I think his name is Engelman or whatever it was, I forget the name, but you can look the clip up. It's Harris saying, hey, you know, she was endorsed. These guys were friends, Biden and this guy was like KKK endorsed. It was Harris who did that. And all of a sudden she's talking about kicking fucking doors down and stuff. Give me a break. I mean, really, it's so inauthentic and it's real bullshit. And again, I'm going to just say this over and over because it matters. To any minority voter, young voter out there, the party for you is us. You know why? Because nobody gives a shit about that. We really just want to see you succeed. Your kids get a good education, get some access to some decent quality health care, get a job, get your kids into good schools, and that's it. And we want to stay the hell out of your life. These idiots, they're full of crap. They're selling you a basket of bullshit, and they've been doing it for 60 years, and now the masks come off. And I love to see it. It's one of the greatest things I've seen is everybody waking up that party's full of crap. I'm not telling you the Republicans are the answer to all your problems. They're not. They've screwed us over too. I'm just telling you the cause of your problems are without a doubt the freaking Democrats.
As we draw near another critical election, it's not just about casting your vote. It's about elevating your voice. I want to tell you about the Association of Mature American Citizens, or AMAC. It's more than just a senior discount org. They unite like-minded patriots committed to preserving our cherished values and actively opposing the leftist agenda. As AMAC's membership grows, Washington listens. Every new member strengthens this movement. If you love America, check out amac.us/Megyn and consider becoming a 4-year member for just $30. AMAC membership gives you access to the AMAC magazine, free Social Security and Medicare guidance, money-saving discounts, trusted news, sweepstakes, and more. Take advantage of their election year sale, 4 years for just $30 by joining the over 2 million members and get your voice heard. Join now at amac.us/Megyn. That's amac.us/MEGYN. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.